Life often gives us a false sense of security, as if everything is fine, as if we are safe. But reality is much crueler. Because, just a few seconds, just a moment is enough to end everything. Today we will see some real-life incidents, where before people realize, the world around them has turned into ruins. Let's get started. The first incident takes place in the middle of a busy city. Everything was normal. People were busy with their daily work, cars were moving, shops were opening. Suddenly, a huge noise. Before anyone knew it, tremors started from under the ground. A powerful earthquake. Within seconds, the multi-story buildings started shaking. People started running. Some were screaming. Some were trapped. And just then, a huge building collapsed. The entire area was covered in dust. The place where there was life just a moment ago turned into ruins in an instant. The second incident is even more terrifying. A huge bridge, where thousands of people travel every day. Everything was normal, but there was a small crack in one part of the bridge, which no one paid attention to. Suddenly, a heavy truck came up. The entire structure was stressed. And then, 1 second, 2 seconds. The entire bridge collapsed into the river. The cars fell down one by one. Before people knew it, it was all over. The third incident took place in a factory. Hundreds of workers were working. Everything was normal, but flammable gas was accumulating inside. A small spark, a small mistake, and then, explosion. Such a terrible explosion, the sound of which could be heard from kilometers away. The fire spread instantly. Many of those who were inside did not get a chance to get out. A workplace became a death trap in an instant. The fourth incident was natural, but its horror was the greatest. A mountainous area. People were living a normal life. Suddenly, it starts to rain. Then more rain. The ground gets wet and soft. And then, a huge landslide. The entire mountain collapses on the villages below. Houses, people, everything is buried. Those who survived remember only one word: roar. The fifth incident takes place at sea. A large ship, hundreds of passengers. Everything was going well, but suddenly, an explosion or a structural defect. Water starts to enter the ship. At first, no one understands. But within minutes, the ship tilts. People start running, looking for life jackets. But time is very short. In an instant, a huge ship sinks into the deep sea. These incidents teach us one thing. No matter how much we plan, how careful we are, life is not always under our control. Because no one knows when danger will come. But the question is, are these complete accidents, or some mistake, which could have been fixed in advance? Many times it is seen. A small negligence, a small error, that causes a big disaster. For example, a cracked bridge, unsafe building, neglected equipment. These things gradually create danger, which at some point explodes in an instant. But all stories are not only about destruction. Even in this rubble, there is a struggle for survival of people. Someone survives under the rubble, for hours, sometimes days. The rescue team comes. People search. A small word, a movement, and many lives are saved by that hope. One survivor said, "Everything was falling apart. I just closed my eyes. I thought, this is the end." But that was not the end. Because the will to survive inside people is incredibly strong. Such incidents happen every day in this world. Somewhere an earthquake, somewhere a fire, somewhere an accident. We don't know all the news. But behind every incident there are real people, real stories, real suffering. So maybe we should Look at life a little differently. Give importance to every moment. Because the world we see today, the place we think is safe, may change in the next moment. In the end, only one thing can be said. Destruction doesn't take time, but reconstruction takes time, takes strength, and takes indomitable courage. Everything looked normal on camera. People were walking, cars were moving, shops were opening. No one knew. In the next few seconds, this whole scene would become history. Because destruction never gives any warning. Look at the first scene. A huge building. It looked very strong. But suddenly, a strange sound. It seemed like something was breaking from inside. And then, in just a few seconds, the entire building collapsed on itself. A cloud of dust covered the surroundings. Where there were people a moment ago, it was now just rubble. The second incident was even more shocking. A busy road. Everything was normal. Suddenly, a small crack appeared in the middle of the road. At first, no one paid any attention. But within a few seconds, the crack started to grow. And then, a part of the entire road collapsed down. The cars fell into the hole one by one. Before anyone knew it, it was all over. The third incident was one of the most terrifying scenes ever caught on camera. A factory. Hundreds of people working inside. Suddenly, an explosion. Then another. And then, a huge fireball engulfed the entire building. The explosion was so powerful that the surrounding buildings were also damaged. The fourth incident was natural, but its power was beyond human imagination. A mountainous area. It was raining. Everything seemed normal. But suddenly, the mountain shook. And then, a huge landslide. The entire mountain came down. Houses, trees, people, everything was buried. The fifth incident happened on a bridge, where thousands of people commute every day. A car. Then another. Everything was fine. But suddenly, a crack appeared in the middle of the bridge. Before anyone knew it, the entire section collapsed down. The cars fell into the river. Each scene in these videos proves one thing. No matter how safe we think we are, the reality is always different. But the question is, are these accidents sudden? Or were there hidden warnings behind it? Sometimes, a small crack, a small flaw, a negligence, slowly creates a big disaster. For example, a weak building, a neglected bridge, an unsafe factory. All these things turn into a time bomb over time, which one day suddenly explodes. But not all stories end in destruction. Even in this rubble, there is hope. Many people survive in the midst of destruction. Someone is trapped under the rubble, waiting for hours. The rescue team arrives. A sound, a movement, and in that moment, a life comes back. One survivor said, "Everything was falling apart. I was thinking only one thing. Will I survive?" Such incidents happen every day in this world. Somewhere a fire, somewhere a landslide, somewhere an explosion. We don't see everything, but behind every incident is a real human story. So maybe we should value every moment, because no one knows when life will change.